Here is everything you're gonna need to know about baby bottles if you're a new parent. Number one, do I go plastic or glass? I personally recommend glass, even though it's heavier, because you wanna reduce microplastic exposure as much as possible. And obviously you're gonna do that with glass. Now, the only con with glass is it's heavier and it could shatter. For example, the Philips Advent glass bottle, it breaks much more easily just by dinging it against the cabinet. So you're gonna wanna look for a glass bottle made from borosilicate, which is much more durable. And my personal favorite is the Guli Cola bottle. Again, you can find everything I'm talking about in the link in my bio. All right, second thing, do I go with a wide neck bottle or a regular? Me personally, I love using a wide neck bottle because it's way easier to just get the formula into the bottle, and it's also easier to clean personally. All right, third thing, if you're going with a glass bottle, you need to make sure it's lead free. If you go with a plastic bottle, you don't have to worry about lead because they typically use lead free paint on plastic. So when you're looking for a bottle, just make sure it's 100% lead free and it's been tested by third parties. There's some super popular brands like Dr. Brown's. I know a lot of parents out there just automatically assume Dr. Brown's the best because all these parents use it. The Dr. Brown glass bottles have lead in them. Yeah, don't use them. I mentioned Guli Cola bottles earlier. They don't have any lead on them because they use a laser to do all the etching on the outside. All right, number four, the type of nipple on the bottle matters. So the reason why I stopped using Philips Advent and switched to Guli Cola is because there's something called the triangle test, which is you get the nipple of the bottle, put a triangle like this, and if the nipple doesn't fit in that triangle, it fails the triangle test. The reason why the triangle test is so important is because what that means is that the nipple is designed to be the closest to how a breastfeeding baby will naturally. I'm not going to go into specifics, but essentially it does affect how the baby's mouth develops and also several other things. Please avoid those baby bottles that are advertised as trying to look like a actual real nipple because usually they behave nothing like an actual breast would. All right, the last tip I have for you guys is there's something called flow and you have to change out the nipples as your baby gets older, or so they say. Most brands advertise the flows with numbers like 1, 2, 3, etc. Or they might specifically write it out like preemie, newborn, 3+ months. What I've learned is to try and use the newborn or the number 1 flow for as long as possible. We use that all the way up until like 8, 9 months. And sometimes we still use it even at 11 months. It's not good for the baby for the milk to come out so easily. You want them to have to work for the milk. And again, simulates closer to the real thing as if they were being breastfed, which again, we talked about is really good for the baby. Anyways, that's all the time I have. If you want a part 2, if you have any questions, please comment below. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video. Stay vigilant, Koopas.